Hey, how's it going? All right, I got this little clip from the Young Turks that I wanted to talk about because they're talking about the girlfriend, George's girlfriend, and the wife, and how this proves that George has got some sort of an issue. So I wanted to share with you this clip and talk about it.
Criminal mischief.
Okay, so now remember there was an altercation with his estranged wife, Shellie Zimmerman, and she had called the police, but they couldn't salvage the video because he smashed the iPad. You could see him smash the iPad, but the rest of the video was in the iPad, and that's why he'd smashed it. So they couldn't charge him. They didn't have enough evidence.
Yeah, so
Well, remember that there was some information on this case specifically from the girlfriend because she didn't give a statement at that time, but she did talk to a newspaper. So let's take a look at that. Okay, this is a little piece from Channel 6 that I wanted to share. And this is where they ask the girlfriend about the issue with Shellie. And right here you'll see that she says she said that Shellie hit George over the head repeatedly with her iPad. That's when she said George took the iPad away from her and broke it over his knee and threw it to the ground. So if Jink wanted to know this information, he probably could have done a little research and found out that the girlfriend has already said that what the wife had said was a lie, and that's why he didn't get charged with it. You know, it's like the problem with Jink is that he was wrong about the trial all along. So every opportunity he gets to bash George, he's going to, along with all the other anti-George people, because they were wrong all the way through the trial. It makes him, it must hurt his feelings.
his or I shouldn't say ex-wife because they're still married, they're estranged, but she alleged that he had punched her father in the face. And then there was footage of him breaking the iPad because there was surveillance that caught that footage. However, he said that he was going to countersue her for some reason.
That's right, because we have witnesses, specifically the girlfriend, who is no longer George's friend, saying that Shellie hit him. The police should have arrested her right there on the spot because there was evidence.
And as a result, she decided to just drop it and she didn't go forward with the case.
Of course she dropped it because cops talked to her and said, "You're going to jail."
But it is kind of interesting to see that this is an ongoing issue with Zimmerman. He keeps getting arrested for domestic violence disputes.
And you got to wonder why that is. Are there people offering these girls money? This is what I said in one of my prior videos. I suggested that George find himself a nice little Latin girl, maybe somebody from Chile or something like that, has no idea about this case. I would suggest that he go to Chile, where his mom is from. I'm sure they've got family there, and he would have a great time. It's a great country.
And in Seminole County, Florida, it's not like they're treating him as a special case where they're not giving him bail. It is standard operating procedure to keep someone behind bars until they see a judge, and then the judge will determine whether he gets bail or not.
Well, of course, we already know he did get bail, and that was $9,000. So, it's not like he's couldn't afford it. Surely he was no problem, it's $9,000.
So now here we have yet another case where someone else, his now new girlfriend, is saying he pointed a shotgun at my face. Now,
I made an earlier video, and I wanted to say it again about this. In the video, I pointed out, because I took apart her 911 call, and I pointed out that she said after she was pushed out the door by him, 50 seconds after the call started, 50 seconds after the call started, she was pushed out the door. And while she's outside, she said that he had already unloaded his guns. So in my video, I questioned, did she unload the guns before she called 911? Was she afraid after he unloaded the guns? Or did he unload the guns during the 50 seconds that they were talking on the phone and he was saying, "Calm down"? No, it's obvious that she knew the gun was not loaded. So we've got that. Any good lawyer will be able to destroy her in court. Destroy her. And, I would suggest to George that he needs to go after both these women because it's obvious that this is all a money ploy. They're trying to get money. They know that he's going to get a lot of money out of NBC, and they want a piece of it.
what was our primary concern about Zimmerman after he got out? So, of course, the original primary concern was that he wasn't charged. Now, what the jury decides is a whole different matter. We've been over that a million times. And in this case,
Yeah, you've been over it a million times, and every time you were wrong. You were wrong in the beginning, you're wrong today. And the fact that you even thought that he should be charged after having his head bashed in the concrete makes me wonder about your sanity.
They'll presumably will be a jury, and they'll make a decision about the facts of this case, and they should only make take into consideration the facts of this case, not any other case, including the Trayvon Martin case, right? But we were worried that when he was out, he seemed to have an attitude of like,
of empowerment.
yeah, I could literally get away with killing someone, right? So
It's got to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. You know, he was found not guilty based on self-defense. So now they're saying that he can go around and kill people willy-nilly because guess what? He got off. It's just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, the guy's an ignoramus.
so I can do whatever I want.
I understand that you don't want to hold someone accountable for prior incidents, especially if it has nothing to do with this particular case, right? But at the same time, if there is a pattern here, if there is...
Well, let's look at the pattern, okay? Really, let's look at the pattern. We had a shooting where he killed a teen, okay? And this is what really pissed these people off because he got off based on our laws. Here in Florida, we love it. In fact, we wish there were a million George Zimmermans in Florida. And we wish that those million George Zimmermans would kill a million Trayvon Martins that are banging their head on the concrete, because every time somebody bangs a guy's head on the concrete for nothing more than watching his neighborhood, I hope that guy pulls out a gun and shoots that little thug. I hope. And, pretty soon we'll be out of thugs in Florida. There will be no more thugs. That's why we're adding like a million new gun permits every year.
Is a trend here. Why wouldn't it be used to judge his character? Because obviously he...
Well, let's look at the character. He got off on that. Then the second case. What's the second case that you're so concerned with? His wife. What did his wife do? His wife did the same thing this girl did. The only difference is this girl tried to fix the mistakes that the wife made. So what did she do? The wife took the iPad and hit him and hit him and hit him. But you know what? She did it in a way so that the camera couldn't see it. You think that she had any idea that the camera was there? Yes. Why? Because her daddy put it there. That's why.
Has an issue with pointing guns at people.
He never pointed a gun at anybody. And there is no evidence of that. So for them to say that puts them in jeopardy themselves. They really should be careful. Because if I were George's lawyer, I would be going after them for this, suggesting that he pointed a gun at somebody without any evidence. The only person he ever pointed a gun at was Trayvon Martin for trying to kill him. He had every right, and he's been cleared of that charge. So you better drop that.
I mean, this is an ongoing thing. So I just don't like the idea of him feeling as though he can point a gun at anyone and face no consequences for it. And I should also note...
Excuse me, before you note, he doesn't point his gun at anyone and have no consequences. It's just, more ignoramuses. I mean, it's hard to believe that these people actually, can get in a car and drive when they're so outside of reality. It's weird.
That after they got into the verbal dispute, he was packing a shotgun and also an AR assault rifle into a bag or something. And then she said that she was going to call the authorities on him. I'm not exactly sure why she decided to do it at that moment. And that's when he allegedly pointed the gun at her and said, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Well, look,
Oh, really? He said, "Are you sure you want to do that? You want to prove that?" Because you know what? Your statement there is a statement of fact, and I would like to see this brought up in a court case.
look, so the state of Florida has empowered Zimmerman to feel like if anyone gets into any altercation with him, well, he can pull any weapon he wants on him. And if he kills him, well, it's only his side of the story. Maybe they threatened him first, right?
Well, I like how he does it. He words it in a way that leaves him an out. And that's good because he didn't state it as a fact. He said, maybe. That's good. That's smart because he doesn't want to go to jail. He doesn't want to lose his goods.
Right? So it's like we're seeing this as like some people are like big surprise. Well, given Zimmerman's experience, it's not that big of a surprise. Now, as to whether they can use the fact that he's pointed guns at other people, that's a very nuanced part of the law.
Well, first of all, he never did point a gun at anybody else except for Trayvon, and that's already been cleared. So you can't use that in a court of law. That'd be like saying, well, yeah, he pointed a gun at somebody in the past, and we want to bring that up in this case. Oh, by the way, he was cleared of that. It was perfectly legal for him to point the gun. In fact, it was in the law. He was completely protected. But we want to bring that up because, hey, he does point guns at people. How stupid. I mean, does this guy breathe?
Right.
So sometimes a prosecutor can, if it's part of a pattern and it proves a part of the case. Oftentimes they can't because the defense will say, look, you can't judge him for what he did in the past. We're talking about this particular crime. And there's a lot of different reasons why they might include or exclude that evidence. Now, when I was in law school, I was considered judicially conservative. So my point has always been...
A conservative? Are you serious? Really? You were considered conservative? In what way?
Let the jury decide. I mean, let them figure out if it's related to this crime or it's not related.
The reason we don't let the jury decide is because they're not legal experts. They don't understand the concept that we divide, we separate. We don't, it would be very easy for me to go through your whole life, get all your friends together, get all the people and find all the little things you've done in your life from the past and say, and then charge you with something and say, look, you did this in the past. When you were a kid, you used to kick the dog. I got your cousins and your friends saying that you used to kick the dog. So now I saw you kick a dog, and I want you in jail for animal cruelty. See what I mean? It's ridiculous. No, you prove the case based on the evidence of the case, not on whatever happened in the past. It's ridiculous.
To this crime because the judge can see all the evidence, and if you don't trust the jury,
why does the judge see all the evidence? Because the judge is a legal expert, or at least should be. He should have an idea about the law, and he should also understand that we separate these things. The jury are laymen. They don't understand. That's why the judge is there to separate it for them, to make sure that they don't hear things that would prejudice them. That's why the judge is there.
You see all the evidence, then you don't trust the jury. So that's a whole separate matter. But finally on this issue, I'm amused by the idea of Zimmerman barricading in the house.
It's her house, by the way.
But he has a right to everything. Zimmerman has,
It's her house.
It's a really serious issue, and
No, she was renting a house, and yes, they were both living there. And in case most people don't realize it, most states are the same. Here in Florida, when you move into a house, after the second night that you've been there, you are a resident. You have all the same rights as an owner or anyone else. We do this, it's our law because we believe that no matter what, no matter how you ended up there, it's your residence and it's your castle. The fact that somebody else owns the property doesn't take away that fact that this is your castle. You are living here and no one can throw you out. That's why when there's a domestic dispute, there's always an issue about who can stay and who's got to leave.
Threatened her with the gun and stuff. But there's a goofy side of it. It reminds me of Bill Murray from Kingpin. Like when he wins $1 million in a bowling tournament and he's like, I'm above the law now. And it seems like that's what Zimmerman feels like. And it's not your house. What are you barricading her out of it?
This whole thing, it just shows how ignorant these people are, that they make all these statements to the left wing mostly, because all these people that are supporting Trayvon are mostly on the left wing. I don't understand why that is divided politically that way. Maybe it's because the left wing wants to support gun control and they find any little thing that they can use as a gun control wedge and they use it. And that's my opinion. That's personally what I think happens. That's why these liberals, for the most part, if you were to take 100 liberals and 100 conservatives and ask them what they think about the case, 95% of the conservatives are going to be on Georgia's side and 95% of the liberals are going to be on Trayvon's side. That's just the way it's turned out. So my assumption is it's because the right believes in the right to defend oneself and the left believes in the right for thugs to be left to their devices and to hurt people if they want.
Second of all, you either are barricading a 27-year-old woman out of the house, where you can't keep her out of the house by yourself and with all your guns, or you're
So now you're suggesting that he point his gun at the girl to chase her out. Is that what you're suggesting? Really? After you just said that he's such a bad guy for pointing his gun at people and you don't have any evidence of that at all, except this woman's word, who is obviously angry and trying to get his money?
Barricading out the cops, but as soon as they come, who are you kidding? You're going to take down the barricade, which you did, and immediately get arrested.
Yeah,
Now, he didn't take it down. They pushed it through. But still, he had every right to be there, and he wasn't arrested for barricading.
and police did say that he cooperated. He did not pose any type of, challenge to them at all. So he cooperated with them as he.
And that's how he's always been in every case. And, why can't you people on the Young Turks see that George is no threat to anybody, and that the only people that have gone after him after he was freed was the people that were trying to get his money. First, his ex-wife, who said, she said from the beginning she broke up with him before the shooting. So then after the shooting, she's like, well, I want half of this money. And when he said, you don't get it, you broke up with me, you're not going to get the money. I'll share some, but I'm not going to give it all to you. That's my assumption. And she freaked out. So she come up with this plan, and I'll bet you anything that the media was involved. How did they get the helicopters there as this was all coming down? How did they get the police and the helicopters all in place just at that time? It doesn't make any sense. There's only one way that could happen, and that is that she was in cohorts with the media, the media that paid for the helicopter that flew in. And then again with the girlfriend and the girlfriend's mom. They were for weeks in contact with the media, suggesting that they need to close this thing down quickly before George gets violent. Close what thing down? They've been in cahoots with this guy, or with these girls, trying to get, the media is trying to get something out of it. They want to fix their name because their name has been sullied. The NBC would like to sully his name some more because why? Because of this trial. They want to reduce how much money they're going to have to pay out. It's ridiculous.
He should, but
What does he think he is, like Les Mis? Like we're gonna do the barricades and stuff. But you know what it might go towards, Anna? It might go towards the thing that got him in trouble with the Trayvon situation to begin with. He's monumentally weak, and that's the argument he made in court, right? During the Trayvon case.
he had his.
So they're going to go on and try to now they're going to try to make him come across as a weakling, as because he's really pissed at this guy, man. This Jink guy, he wants to tear George apart. Why? Because of all the flack he's caught. Believe me, their numbers have gone down dramatically since this trial.